Got traffic there. Blaster, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a lowest downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. Well, we got a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You cleared land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, and let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final, and as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to re-sequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in tight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello. Hello. loads of boxes, more boxes than you can normally shake a stick at. So just a quick one. Johnny Salmon is not here. He's off washing his hair. Sarah is going to pop back and interview Trevor later. Hello, Trevor. And Simon's here with his hair blown off just like mine. So thank you very much for joining us. We've all survived. We got one in the comment for Chris Winch in Jersey, who's already hit 87 knots, and it's a bit noisy where he is. Not entirely surprising at all. So glad you still made it through, Chris. The first production blunder has been made already. Oh, that was completely my fault. There you go. So, well, with no further ado, I'm going to say thank you very much, Sky Demon, for supporting the live stream. And here, given that none of us can fly, this is a tip aimed at the people out there who've got nothing better to do because you can't go flying. So it's a good tip for sorting out your logbooks. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Hannah from Sky Demon, and this is this week's top tip. In your logs library, you'll find the option to view a summary of all of your logs under the View All Flight Times button. Choose the date range and the timings you want to include in your summary. For example, you can show blocks times and engine times in addition to your takeoff and landing times if they've been logged. A summary will then be generated showing all of the logs within that period that you've saved in your cloud, so that you can easily copy the timings into your paper logbook. You can even email yourself a copy or print it out. For more information, go to our website skydemon.aero.
There you go. Update those logbooks. Hands up, whose logbook's up to date?
Yes.
Oh, did you guys take apples to the teacher and stuff as well?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
Probably. Right.
Annabelle C said the opening of this show was a bit like the opening sequence of the Muppet Show. That's a bit harsh. Nick Allen, slightly kinder. It's like Celebrity Squares.
Over Muppets. Okay, quick one. It's getting towards the end of the year, so it is Fly 2023. You should have flown 2,023 minutes and visited 23 airfields. Thank you very much to Bose, Continental Aerospace Technology, and you Avionics. Don't forget, pop over to the forum and put your flight. Oh, who's that who's been flying a P-51 Mustang? Was that a Muppet?
Annabelle. Annabelle's Muppet fame.
I don't know the Muppet character, so I'll probably get myself in trouble. So I'm going to stop here. But yeah, pop over to the forum, put your Fly 2023 entries in if you haven't done it already. That would be very good. Thank you very much for that. I think as we've got a whole load of stuff to get through tonight, let's bring on that Simon chap. Hello, Simon. How are you?
Evening all. I'm okay, thank you. Are you? Bit windswept, which I suppose just about everybody is. It's been an interesting day.
It has been good. Yeah. Well, at one point we weren't sure if we were going to see you tonight. We thought we might get a recording, but it's a pleasure to have you live.
Good. No, I'm pleased to be here. It's I'm a bit delirious now though because it's been a very long day. It was a very long night last night, and kind of when you reach the stage of just carrying on. So at some point I'm going to have to stop, and I'm going to have to stop drinking the coffee as well because that's
don't stop in the next few minutes, and then you can do what you like.
If I suddenly disappear, you'll know what's happened. Okay. Right. Okay. So Storm Kieran. Well, really, it was a storm, but I was making the point all week, actually, that this is a normal October storm. Yes, the winds were strong, obviously, but we've seen worse winds. It was basically because it was going to hit population centres, which, of course, is exactly what it did. So this is the latest satellite picture. There's Storm Kieran sort of rotating around now in the North Sea. Fascinating meteorological dynamics to this, and there's going to be a lot of debate between meteorologists about how the storm was forecast, what happened to it, and it will ultimately lead to better forecasting as well for flying. So there is going to be some good to come out of this. This is where we are in terms of the gusts so far. Let me just see if I can make that a bit bigger for you. There you go. So this is where we are in terms of the gusts. I'm hoping you can just see that it was southern coast of England that saw the strongest of the gusts, and I've just zoomed in here on the channel because there was a swathe of winds that came up through the central part of the channel last night, which would have been close to 100 knots. You see here, really, Guernsey, Jersey took the full force of it at about 82 knot gusts. So it was notable, certainly a notable storm, not the strongest though that we've ever had, but still an interesting event, and well forecast days in advance as well, although not that great with the actual wind speeds closer to. So that's the bit that we'll be reviewing to try and improve forecasts. So this is where we are then for tomorrow. That area of low pressure, the remnants of Storm Kieran now in the North Sea. We've got some rain across eastern parts of Scotland. Northwesterly flow brings showers to northwestern parts of England, northern and western parts of Wales and southwest England. Also across northern and western Ireland. Bases here probably around about 3,000 feet, 2,500 feet in showers. Tops on those are going to be between about 15 and 20,000 feet, but still in between them, it'll be flyable. Actually, for much of northeast England, for the Midlands, for East Anglia, for parts of southern England, it should be fair as well. Although just watch out for some showers running along southern coast. But in these kind of eastern areas, we're going to be looking at bases about 4,000 feet, tops at about 12,000 feet. So it's not that bad a day tomorrow. So make the most of it, because on Saturday, another area of low pressure comes through. This one may well be named as well. And if it does, this will be Storm Debbie that comes through. Just waiting to see if they decide to name it. They may not, because it's a Saturday. So not many people out and about in terms of commuting, etc. And that's one of the criteria for naming storms. But this system will move its way eastwards across England and Wales, bringing rain with it. You see the first band of rain is across northern England, so non-VFR conditions here, then followed by some heavy showers, and then more rain coming into the southwest later on. All in all, not a great day, although I do suspect that through the Midlands, through parts of southeast England, through parts of southern England, there may be an hour or two of sort of flying, so we might get some locals, some very local flights in the afternoon, but just watch the much better across Scotland. And then for Sunday, a better day again on Sunday. Northeastern Scotland perhaps seeing some outbreaks of rain, but western coast of Scotland, northern and western Wales, western coast of southwest England, seeing a few showers rattling in. But again, not that bad. Bases 3,000 feet, tops about 15,000 feet. And I think you'll be able to fly around them. But for much of central and eastern Scotland, northern England, the Midlands, East Anglia, the southeast and southern England, there it looks as if it should be quite a pleasant day. 1 or 2 showers, bases of around 3,000 to 4,000 feet, tops at around about 15 to 18,000 feet. So again, not bad at all. Now, my weather schools are all full towards the end of the year. However, I kind of been bombarded by people saying, can we do a course before Christmas? I'm going to kind of send out an email asking people what dates they would like to do the course on. It'll be on a Tuesday evening, 2 consecutive Tuesday evenings. So look out for that. If you've not registered to get those emails, just use the contact us form here at weatherschool.co.uk and just let me know that you want to be added to that list. And of course, you can do a Pilot's Guide to SCUT's online course at any time. Phew, I think that's enough from me, don't you? It was a bit of a complex one tonight. Sorry to rabbit on so much, but have a great weekend. Have a safe flying weekend. I think there's some flying to be found.
Annabelle C, no, if you're hard of hearing, Simon did not say my weather schools are awful. He said they are all full.
Awful. Annabelle, you're on form tonight.
I'm here to agree they're not.
Yeah.
How disappointing is it if you're a storm and you rock up on a weekend and you don't get named?
Exactly. You've spent all that time traveling from the Caribbean across the Atlantic. You've been hooked up by jet stream. You've been ripped apart at least 3 times, and then you don't get a name. It's a shame, isn't it? Should we just name it anyway? Come on, Debbie.
It's like Debbie's making her way to the maternity, and they go, I'm going to give birth, I'm going to give birth. And then you're not strong enough. You go, no, back home, Branston Hicks contractions or whatever they are. If you'd have been on a Friday, maybe.
Exactly.
Cool. Jolly good. Thank you very much, Simon. Have a great weekend.
Good to see you all. See you next week.
Okay. So who wants to quickly read the question of the week for everyone? So let's listen to Dave Calderwood.
Right. Question of the week, given our guest for tonight, is would you go into space if you could? So that's it. We'll pick your answers a bit further into the show.
Let us know in the chat, and if you're watching this on Catch Up, let us know in the comments. Yeah. Right.
Not saying how you would go into space, whether it's with a November the 5th rocket or a space elevator.
Oh,
right.
Well,
however you can. Like Virgin Galactic.
Yeah. Right. Okay. News time. Ed.
Yes. So, given that we were talking about kit planes last week, when we had Simon Tilling in for Fancy Hangar, A bit of a shocker to arrive at Friday and hear the news from Dick Van Grunsven talking directly to his customers. Ian, I think you've got a video.
Hello, I'm Dick Van Grunsven, founder of Vans Aircraft and principal designer of the line of RV kit planes. I wanted to make this video so I can speak directly to you, the builders and owners of Vans kits and airplanes. I need to share some difficult information with you about the status of Vans Aircraft today. Due to a number of factors, Vans is facing serious cash flow issues that must be addressed for ongoing operation. We are confident we can work through this situation, but some changes are required. Candidly, since early September, Vans has only been able to continue operating through loans of operating capital made by my wife and me.
And really, really surprising stuff. I'm sure if you'd asked anyone, who's the safest horse in the kit plane game, it would be Vans. But there we go. You've got Dick Van Grunsven on camera going, we're in a tough situation. And we've got a story online which I put together earlier in the week, which tells how Vans got into this financial mess. But they've basically the success of the COVID pandemic, where orders went up 250%. An issue with some quick build kits with bad primer, a decision to go with laser cut parts, which should have been okay, but there was some problems with cutting those, and those parts got into the system and into customers' kits and into more quick build kits, and the whole fixing the mess and getting everything back on track has been incredibly costly, and now they're facing this financial crisis where they've got a lot of stock and not much cash.
Yeah. Dave, haven't you got a kit, Dave, somewhere, or did you sell that? Dave White, that is.
I've still got a kit, but parts of a kit, so empennage and wings of an RV7, but there are plans for that. I won't be the eventual builder.
Yeah.
You're just the stockist currently.
I am currently the stockist, and there are no laser cut parts in the kit.
Yes, yeah, but Dave is just one of several hundred RV builders in the UK, and obviously there's over 10,000 more builders actively building kits. Vans is biggest kit built entity in the world. Over 11,000 aircraft finished by customers and flying. So you've got a huge number of aircraft that need parts support, and all those kits that are out there will, support Lycoming with engine purchase, support Garmin and Dynon with avionics purchase, Hartzell for propeller. So it's a real the tendrils of this reach far out into our sport aviation world, really.
Yes, I mean, I think that it's very evident that there's an awful lot of value in the company and the designs. The issue is what happens when they get over the current hump. And, I think everybody wishes that it remains under its current ownership. But if the worst came to the worst and it doesn't, I don't think it's very likely that builders and owners are going to be left high and dry. Somebody will buy. Yeah.
It's you've got a range of products, all of which are really popular. You've got a new product that's ready to push the button on production in the RV15, of which there's a vast, a big number of customers who are lined up, just waiting to get their hands on that. So like you say, it's got to be looking attractive for people who want to invest in it. And obviously they've got a temporary interim CEO in Michael Vai, who famously turned Stoddard Hamilton around, and when it was Glass Air Aviation, created their 2 weeks to taxi program, and made that and turned that into a successful company from bankruptcy, and that was eventually sold. So,
yeah, I guess it just depends what price the whoever comes up with whatever it is they need, $20-30 million, is going to want in return, really.
Yeah, Aviator Steve asks, what happens if you've built? And this is part of the problem. Obviously, customers with quick build kits with parts So vans have been through and they've identified there's 1,800 customers, some of whom have more than 2 kits, and some have $15 worth of parts, some have $1,500 worth of parts, and some are built into a quick build kit, some are sat in a box on a shelf, and they all pose different challenges. Obviously, if you've got a quick build kit, that kit needs to come apart to replace those parts. Vans have actually they've spent a long time this summer assessing all the kind of doing a full fatigue analysis on how these parts impact the aircraft, and things like they've come up with numbers like for the RV-12, the airframe will still has a fatigue life of 30,000 hours. But obviously, people are nervous of laser cut parts and seeing items with cracks in. So,
and I guess to be fair, if you've got an aeroplane that's got a life of 30,000 hours, and your concern is not so much that, but your concern is what happens when I want to come and sell it. And you're talking to the buyers. Go, no, it's got 30,000 hours, but I know it's got the cracked bits in it.
That's it. Yeah.
If I was the buyer, I'd be going, I think you might need to drop that price a little bit.
That's it, yeah. But I think what we're seeing is obviously a future potentially. I'm pretty sure vans will still be around in one form or another. But I suspect we'll see kit prices rising because vans have readily admitted they lost track of pricing, and with inflation and a whole bunch of other factors, and the fact that they've got customers who put deposits down on aircraft that are being delivered 2 years in the future. They've ended up selling things at no profit at all. So it's an unusual case but it's perhaps an unusual case of too many engineers and not enough accountants. Yeah, quite possibly. Which is not normally what happens in aviation, but anyway, right. Moving on, Dave. I think you got some good news, haven't you?
Yes, we have. Yeah, it's if you remember the story back in early August about a proposed temporary danger area for drone trials that took out a huge swathe of airspace in Northumbria, just to the west and north of Newcastle. You can see on this image here, the original airspace was that pink sort of thing at the background. The new airspace, after a consultation period, is the slimmed down version. There was a huge response during the consultation period, and Appian, the drone company involved, actually did the right thing. They listened to the comments, they responded by shrinking the amount of airspace, and they've also addressed key points that were raised during the consultation by pilots and others. Some of the key points are there were 2 grass strips, Hexham and Stanton. They would have been closed under the original plan, but they're now out of the TDA, so they can still continue in operation. There was a north-south coastal VFR route just to the east of Newcastle Airport, near Newcastle Airport's airspace. That was going to be cut off effectively, and therefore no VFR route along the coast. You can see there that they brought the airspace inland a bit so that that can still operate. There is also various other choke points in VFR flying that have been addressed and sorted out, and quite possibly important, the reduced hours of operation, which are all going to be notified by NOTAM. So Appian has put the revised plan out for what they call a targeted consultation until the 8th of December, and is aiming to, and they've had to push back their whole schedule. They're now aiming to start trials on the 14th of May 2024 for 6 months. So you can see that right through the prime flying season. So it was quite important, very important, to get this airspace sorted out. And it's the lesson there is, respond to consultations. Our input can really make a difference.
As Richard Kennedy says, they haven't addressed the fact they aren't trialing anything that hasn't already been proved.
There is that, but and they have been accused, along with others, of what is called grant harvesting. There's a lot of grants out there to running drone trials, and why do you need to run the same trial in different places? It's not. Anyway, but that's a different subject.
Yeah, they're all putting flags in the sand or whatever it is.
Sandbox.
All sorts of other bits and pieces. Right. Talking of consultations, quick flash of a logo that you all undoubtedly love out there. I know. Still your beating hearts. The Civil Aviation Authority have today launched another consultation, this time a very specific consultation with 10 questions on the subject of advertising for cost share. You'll be aware that a little while ago, Wingley ran a hour and a half webinar basically about the proposed changes, and the CA agreed to consult again, and this is the consultation. It runs until the 30th of November. So not a huge one, and it deals with the advertising and whether you'll be able to advertise or you won't. Well, you can advertise, but the limitations on that advertising for your cost share flight. I think this is kind of boiling down to a bit of a philosophical thing. At the very, very high level, cost sharing is allowed with some, if it's a non-commercial, i.e. non-profit making venture, and that the fact that it makes no profit doesn't appear to be enough. For many people, including the CA. So there's some other stuff. It's interesting in the consultation, they kind of swerved a little bit and already started parking the blame for the exact wording with the DFT lawyers when they come back with it. Okay, here's what we suggest, but it's not us. We won't be writing it, kind of thing. So we'll see what happens there. Interestingly, in the Arsaland, I believe the rules are going the other way, and they're looking to make it more equitable for owners as opposed to renters. So we'll see what happens there, but go have a read of the consultation. Initially, it was just 9 multi-choice questions, so you had no way of commenting. They'd already defined the answers that you wanted to put. Which like, really? That kind of consultation? Who did that then, eh? You got the cleaners to do that, didn't you? Yes, you did. Or more to the point, you just knew what you wanted. So kind of a few people, me and a bunch of other people on the forum went, where did you put the comments? And the CA did actually come back to me and go, oh, that was an error. We've changed it now. So there is now a 10th question, which basically is a free comment field. So you can write everything you need in the free comment field. I'd like to think they'll listen to it and take it on board. Am I sure about that? I don't know.
I think a general observation on consultations, of which there are just a flood of them and have been for years, not just from the CAA, it would be really helpful if there was an indication of when they expect to get back to us. There's an outstanding consultation in terms of departures to and arrival from, no, other way around, grass strips, starting in a couple of years' time with potential fines associated with it. Lots of us responded to that, but there's no indication at all of when we might expect to hear anything, if we ever do. I think consultations generally are not run as transparently as I feel they ought.
Well, I was writing the story about the consultation, I did a search for the original consultation. So I just put consultations into the Flyer search bar to see, and there's like 22 of them that we've reported on. You go, bloody hell, consultations coming out where is it? In fact, there's probably a feature in there one day. Go back and look at all the consultations that have been, what the outcome was, and which ones have just been buried and put to the side, if any.
I think so many of them, though, but they all need responding to individually, isn't it? Which is the real time killer.
A real full-time job, yeah. Right, we need to move on because we got a good guest waiting.
It does that. Ed's point does make the point of how important it is to be a member of one of the alphabet organisations, because those guys put in a lot of unpaid effort to respond to those on our behalf, which is, we can't do it ourselves.
Not all the time, absolutely. Dave White, we've given you the next story, but we might not have told you about the next story.
That's correct.
So, as we're going to make it very quick, I'll just jump in and go that the BMAA have added the Sting to the list of approved microlights, which is good news there. And Dave, you got a quick thing on. There you go. That was quick, wasn't it? You got a quick thing on the next news story.
Yep, the next news story. Well, it's 26th of November 2003. Do you know what that date was? It was the date of the final flight of Concorde. And to coincide with the 20th anniversary of that flight, there's a new film called Concorde First to Last. As the name suggests, it's a detailed look at the complete history of Concorde with plenty of archive footage. It's been released as a DVD and also as a high definition stream from a company called Bellevue Films. There's a story on it online, so you can pick up the link there. And that's all being released in time for the 20th anniversary.
Fantastic.
Cool. Excellent.
Well, just about a week before the 100th anniversary of the Wright brothers' first flight.
Yeah, absolutely. Again,
Yes.
That's enough news. But just a quick club promo while we're here. So the landing fees this month in November: Wickham, Sutton Bank, Edsfield, alongside 50% off Land's End, 10% off food. If you're not a member, please go and be a member. It's only £5 a month, which is a bargain. And if you don't want to spend the £5 a month, then shame on you. But click like and all the rest of it, or click don't like if I just said shame on you. Whoops, sorry. There you go. Right, enough of that. Let's bring some more people on who make more sense than I do. Trevor, hello. Sarah, hello. Just a little bit of screen rearranging there.
It's going to work.
There you go. Thank you very much. Sarah, I keep trying to move you to the top, but it's done it. Over to you.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Hello, everyone. So tonight, super excited to introduce BAFTA-winning film producer, Trevor Beattie, who is a keen aviator. He's not actually a pilot, but his logbook is far more impressive than I think everyone viewing, and I'll explain it later. But we'll start off, just introducing him, saying hi, and we've got a clip to show you guys in a minute, which will really set the scene. So, hi, Trevor.
Hello, everybody.
Here's the little video.
In 1903, the Wright brothers made the first powered flight in the history of mankind. At the controls of that plane was one of the brothers, Orville Wright. 20 years later, in 1923, he wrote a check for $2.23. I bought that check at auction. I folded it into a paper aeroplane, and in 2023, 100 years later, that paper aeroplane will fly in space with me, because we're flying on the shoulders of giants. And I want Orville Wright to be up where he belongs.
2, 1, release, release, release. Fire, fire.
I always knew it was going to be the most extraordinary experience of my life. I always knew that. And people had kind of told me it was going to be. But then when it is, and it's on another level to the experience you thought you were going to have, then it's very difficult to explain. People who try to mess are starting at the wrong base point, so I believe that space begins when the sky's black, the earth's blue, you're floating weightless, and you're crying your bloody eyes out. That's where space begins.
There we go. That's it, isn't it? How many times have you watched that, Trevor?
I've watched it more than twice.
I have too. So I've got to ask, when did the dream of space, where did it start for you? When did you know that you needed to do it?
I was 10 years old. In fact, I've got evidence right alongside me of why how I wanted to go to space, because when I was 10, I made this book at school, The Space Race, my project, in which I put all my cuttings of all my heroes, my space heroes, from Gagarin to Tereshkova to Buzz.
And did you leave a space at the back?
And I left a space at the back because I just assumed that by the time I was a teenager, I'd go to space. It was just obvious. Everyone bloody would, it's no big deal. So I left a rectangle at the back. I did a dotted line into which I'd planned to glue the cutting from the local Birmingham Evening Mail saying, Brummy kid goes to space. There's no big deal, but I left that space. And then 2 weeks ago, I was able to fill that space.
Oh, show us.
Because 2 weeks ago, the Wolverhampton Express and Star wrote the piece that I wanted, and it was exactly the right size.
Oh, and did you take the space race with you to space?
Yeah, I did. This book was housed underneath the pilot's seat. Kelly, it was under her seat as we went up. It was marked by my teacher, Mr. Palmer, who gave me a pathetic good work B+. And which I was traumatized by for decades. But I got to know Buzz Aldrin, and I asked Buzz to grade the project for me. And Buzz gave me he crossed out Mr. Palmer's score, and he gave me an excellent A+-. So I also got Charlie Duke's approval as well on it. So it went well approved, you know.
That's amazing.
So
and what else did you take?
That's how I knew I was going to space.
That is amazing. And you took something else to space with you as well. You took Orville Wright's check.
I did. I have that for you as well. I've even got that for you. I've come prepared. So this is the actual check, which has flown at Mach 3 and then flown weightlessly in space. So this is the check. I've got my angles right here. In Dayton, Ohio, signed by Orville Wright. It was written in 1923 for $2.23, and in 2023 it went to space.
Wow.
It's very special.
It is.
That's well done for keeping it all safe. So
it's in a tin box now.
So that was nearly a month ago now. How does it feel watching that video back? Is it quite surreal, or is it still very fresh in your mind?
I'm still up there, really. I don't have plans to come back in any in the near future. I'm still up there. I'm still a bit kind of woolly, would be the way I put it. I don't think I ever suffered fools, but now I really don't care for trivia. There's a lot of stuff that's trivial that I don't care about. Although I did leave you all alone for 5 minutes and you set the world on fire, so I was a bit annoyed with you for that. But you know, but I don't care if the bus is late now. I don't care if my meal's cold. It doesn't matter, you know.
Because you've done it.
I do care that Debbie's not going to get her hurricane named after her this weekend. No, that's not trivial. That's bloody important. So, come on, Debbie.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, trivial things don't count anymore.
That's amazing. I was actually, my next question was going to be preparation for the flight. So thank you, Rachel. What was it? What was the preparation and what was the run up to it?
Well, Rachel, the run up, as you can see, was several decades long. So the run up, I've been psychologically training since I was 10, but then physically training a few years back. I did centrifuge in Philadelphia. That was up to 6.5 G without a G suit. That gets your attention. I do, you know, as you've hinted at, I'm a kind of professional passenger. I know how to fly, but I don't have a license. I've never flown. I can't drive a car either. I've never driven a car. So, but I'm a professional passenger in both vehicles. I've got a lot of friends who are ex-RAF and friends who ex-Reds in particular. So I know the guys who were the Blades. Unfortunately, the Blades are no more, but they've put me through my paces in the extra, you know, pulling a lot of G there. And coincidentally, at the spaceport, they have an extra. They have a game bird and an extra that they take you flying aerobatically in to give you a bit of. We also did fly the hump as well and do a bit of 0 G. And I've flown the Vomit Comet in America a couple of times. Although interestingly, the actual weightlessness up there was different from the Vomit Comet. It was. They don't like me calling it the Vomit Comet, but you know what I mean. But the real weightlessness was different. It was much more enjoyable. It's much kind of smoother actually. So yeah, quite a lot of training. The main training when I was in New Mexico was getting the harnesses on, which I was rubbish at. It's a very much a kind of fighter pilot's, you know, five piece harness with the gentleman's strap, as I call it, down between your legs. So if you arrive upside down back at your seat, they call it the rodeo. Back to your seat, you grab hold of that harness and then you wheel yourself around whatever angle you're at. I was wearing a parachute, and so there isn't a cushion on the back of the seat in Galactic. There's a hole into which you dock your parachute. So once you've got that docked, then you're in position to get the rest of the straps on. But then the G comes on, so you go from microgravity, from 0G. The G comes on pretty damn rapidly on re-entry. So I got the two waist straps on. I got my parachute docked, and I got my left hand shoulder strap on. And I have to admit, I failed on the right hand shoulder strap, and I did the pathetic thing of holding it. I held onto it, and the G came on, and it's pathetic to see it now, but I've seen a still of me holding it, as if that would work. And then I'm proud to say at about 70,000 feet, I finally locked it in position. So I was all aboard for the arrival back.
And so how long was the actual flight, and how long sort of were you weightless, and what was it like when gravity came back in? How did you prepare for that bit?
It's always disappointing to get gravity back, unfortunately. But the whole trip was, I don't know, an hour and a half, something like that, because, it's an air launch vehicle. So we wind our way up to 50,000 feet. My brother is a bigger aviation person than myself, and he's not a pilot either, but we've got nice logbooks of some of the amazing planes we've flown, and he was out there with me, so I took the Wright brothers up, and the Beattie brothers were down there waiting for me on the ground, but he was jealous that I'd gained 2 types that day, because he explained to me the night before. It suddenly dawned on him that I was flying both attached to the mothership and within Spaceship 2, so for him, I'd got 2 new names on the logbook, and he was well pissed off about that I'd gained two planes on him, I won't even move that down. But yeah, we were up there. Technically, we were in space apparently for 10 minutes, but we were weightless for about 4 minutes, which initially I thought would fly by. And in rehearsal, the first rehearsal on the ground, I thought, God, that wasn't long at all. But then when you time it off on the full dress rehearsal, you appreciate it's a good length of time. And then up there, it was as if time stopped. It was extraordinary.
And I remember you saying, who was it that advised you just look out the window, whatever you do?
Charlie Duke said, look out the goddamn window, And I took his advice, but I've expanded on that now, because I'll make it a plural. Because it's one thing holding on as I did and looking out the window at the Earth, but once you release the harness and you float away from your seat, if you then look forwards through the front windscreen, and the pilots were this close to me, there's not a cabin door or anything, the pilots are sitting there. And so I can see the windscreens and the windows on either side of the craft. So actually, when I floated back, I could see the entire curve of the Earth through all of the windows. And that was even more remarkable than looking out the single window.
Amazing. So, silly question, you'd obviously do it again, wouldn't you?
In a heartbeat. I'll be there tomorrow if someone dropped. They went today, actually. They did a NASA experiment today. So Galactic flew this afternoon. If anyone had dropped out, I'd have been out there. I'd have been.
That's amazing.
Adrian Norris asked the question, how much G going up and coming down, Trevor?
That's a really good question. I'd always been told by my pilot friends that the re-entry would be tougher than the climb. That's not true. The re-entry was a doddle, really. I'd also been told by the powers that be that you would pull about 3G on the way up. That is also not true, because I know what 3G is. 3G is easy. You can do 3G in a... I've never flown a Cessna 172, by the way, Sarah, if you want to fly me. But
yeah, they got one up on you.
That proves I'm a non-pilot, doesn't it, really? Exactly. But I would suggest that you, like your title sequence in the front, this was terrific. And there was some, I could tell you were putting some G's in those birds. So, you guys know what 3G is. That's okay. That wasn't 3G on the way up. 3G doesn't move your face at all. Because it's a rocket motor, and so it was like nothing I'd ever experienced the kick, you have that release. So they drop you off, and then the mothership gets out of the way, Chuck Yeager style. And then you think it's not going to happen. It's 1 second later that the rocket, they say fire, and the rocket is ignited. And you go from essentially 0 to supersonic in 3 seconds. And I did the most English thing I've ever done. It was embarrassing. Because on the second, when they said release, on the second release, I inexcusably did this, like a pathetic Englishman that I am. Because what then happened 1 millisecond later was this. And so I double punched myself in the face and went from 0 to supersonic with thumbs in my face and couldn't take them off. Good luck.
I love how that clip was missed out.
Super glamorous. So I'm going to get a still of that. It's super glamorous. But no, then you arc and you turn tail, and then that was the most extraordinary experience of the whole day, really, because you're on your back and you're looking at space because you're now at Mach 3 vertically, and you're just looking into space. It's black, and the whole thing is vibrating. And I honestly felt that I was in some kind of low-budget sci-fi movie. It was so strange. It was so violent and extraordinary. It was beyond any acceleration I've had before.
I was going to say, was there any sort of moment of like fear? Was there any second where you just thought, oh, just nothing at all? Because what you just said.
Fear that I'd really screwed up my moment by being an Englishman. There's a fear. There's also fear of being an Englishman, isn't there? But no, it was exhilaration and thrill, really, and acceleration like I'd never experienced. Because I tried to explain it to someone afterwards, and they said, "Yes, Trev, that's how rockets work," and in a really kind of condescending way, because it hadn't occurred to me. I haven't flown a rocket before. I'm sorry about that, but I was saying that the more it burns, the lighter it gets, and the lighter it gets, the faster it goes. So the more it burns, the faster it goes. And I was explaining to someone who went, "Yes, that's how rocket engineering works." So I'm going, okay, but I'm telling you, it's not like an extra 300. It's different. So it was as if it was kind of breathing. It would accelerate, and then it would kind of pause, and then it would accelerate again. But it was such a ride. It was like nothing I'd expected. And it wasn't 3G.
That's amazing.
And then on top, it just parks. So you go from that massive G to 0G, and it parks on top. It just stays there. And then the ship revolves around you. So you have this strange experience of a bit like being if you were a fly inside a tennis ball, And so I'm floating out of my suit, but I'm staying where I am, but the ship's moving around me. So they said you have to watch out. The ship will bump you on the head because it's moving around you because it's revolving. So I have more in common with the Earth than I have with the rocket, because the rocket's manoeuvring around, and I'm floating in the middle of it, as is the Earth, and that's a very emotional experience.
Well, I have to. Sorry, go on, Ed.
I hope any of this is making sense, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah. It sounds like so much stuff that they can't prepare you for. I guess they do quite a good job of doing that, but it sounds like there's a whole lot of learning going on.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it. It's a really good way of putting it, because you can approach this scientifically and mathematically and aeronautically, which they do. But I'd always said we kind of sent the wrong people to space before, because we sent the wrong side of the brain people. We sent the scientists and the engineers and the mechanical experts to space, and they all came back as pilots and poets. Now we're sending us Herberts up there, and God knows what we're going to come back as. But it's a different interpretation, and I think that you're dead right. You can't really prepare properly. Of all the people I've spoken to who have done it, and been there, none of them explained to me what I experienced. It was nothing like they told me nothing like they told me it was going to be. It was utterly intense, and very emotional.
I think it's one of those differs from person to person, doesn't it? And it meant so much.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was an emotional moment.
Go on.
Sorry, when in the video, when you landed back, it looked like for a second there was a bit of an emotional. I mean, that must have been like the really not as intense as being up there, but as intense as just. It's so immediate, and like just minutes ago, I was up there doing that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I mean, it's they have a kind of dilemma, I guess, because Galactic are trying to, explain what a wild ride this is, but they also have to instill in people how serious this is. This is not flying in an Airbus 380. This is some serious stuff we're doing here. And so you have to instill that in people.
Yeah, Paul Fraser Benison asked the question: were you settled in your mind about potentially not surviving the flight?
Yeah, that's a really important question. And I don't know whether you've seen the Branson documentary. He did a 4-part doc. It was on Sky Docs, and it's incredibly moving, and it's a brilliant piece. So I kind of knew that mindset of what to expect. But no, I rewrote my will, and I wrote some letters to people. I only kept one of them afterwards. But yeah, that's some serious stuff. You have to take it seriously, and everyone else around you has to take it seriously as well. That's why it's important. It's important who you have on the ground for a variety of reasons.
So you took your brother with you. Who else came along?
I've got 1,000 brothers, so I took at least 3 of them there. I took about, in all, there was about 10 or 12 people. I took a whole posse for different. They all had a different role. They all had a different drink to buy me when I landed.
It was part of the experience.
By the way, I've got a prize. I wanted to give a prize that you might want to give away. It's a tour T-shirt I've had made. Can I run off screen for 1 second? I promise I'll come back.
Yeah. And while Trevor's off, I think this might be a first for Livestream, because another chap who was on the same flight with Trevor, Ron Rosano. So we've actually got two astronauts.
Oh wow!
Via Livestream.
That's amazing.
Hey Ed, leave that up for Trevor when he gets back.
Yeah. That's
wow. He's coming back.
We were just saying, Trevor, I think it's a first for us. We've never had 2 astronauts, because Ron Rosano, who's in the comments, he says, "Hello,
Ron.
crewmate."
Ron, what are you doing up at this time of night?
on a niche British aeronautical live stream.
Oh, that's Ron. Ron gets his avionics. So look, I've got this T-shirt because I went a very peculiar route to space. This was the tour that me and my team took. We went from London to Birmingham, then to Liverpool, where we had a drink up in the cavern. Then we flew to Dublin on Ryanair, and then we went from Dublin to Dallas. We went from Dallas to Las Cruces in a Honda Jet. That was sweet. And then we went to Las Cruces, and then we went to Pace. It says there. So I'll give this away to whoever. Well, you do the quiz, and they can have the T-shirt.
Oh, fantastic!
That's very cool.
Hey Trevor, I got a quick question. When in the movie, when you're signing the book, you're signing against 018, which I guess is your Virgin Galactic astronaut number.
Mm.
Do you happen to know what number you are in terms of human spaceflight through history?
Yeah, I'm the first Brummie. I'm the 9th Briton, and I believe it's the 600. I'm the 673rd human to leave the planet.
Wow! 2/3 of 1,000. That's incredible, isn't it? Only 2/3 of 1,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is very special.
Yeah.
It feels like a bit of a come down now, talking about the other general aviation that you've done. But I have to mention,
it's all flying. I love all flying.
It is all flying. You're right. So obviously, when I met you and I asked you, send me over your logbook, and I was reading through it, and you've got all the birds. You've got, the Spitfire, the Harvard, you've got Mustang, but you've got some really special stuff. So you've been in a Lancaster, which is incredible. There's not many people who can say they've done that. The L-29 Albatross and a MiG-25 Foxbat. So how did you get in the MiG-25 Foxbat?
I had to throw dollars to Moscow. A company called, I think they were called Space Adventures, and it was a kind of American and Russian collaboration. And they amazingly did this, edge of space flight to 90,000 feet. I mean, it wasn't trivial. In the Foxbat, out of Zhukovsky. That was about 20 years ago. That was, up until now, a pretty bloody extraordinary thing, only surpassed by Galactic. But also it sat in the backseat of a Tornado over Loch Ness in a two-ship. That was a buzz. That was physical. That was good.
So what's been your favourite or your most memorable besides the Galactic flight?
Well, it has to be the Foxbat. I mean, what I've learned over the years is the characteristics. You guys know this better than I do, I'm sure, but the characteristics of different aircraft. Each plane I've learned has got a different personality, a different feel. Flying in a Hunter, for me, I don't drive a car, as I said, but flying in a Hunter was like being in a Jag or something, like a sports car, especially because it's side by side seating, and everything else is tandem. So being in the Hunter was extraordinary. Being in the Foxbat, you're up front, you're in the nose of the thing, the pilot's behind you. And the Nat, I flew the Nat. That was a physical experience, because I'm not a big fella, but crammed into that and it rattles around. I flew that out of North Weald. That was a really violent, clattering kind of experience. That was great. Jet Provost and stuff like that.
Any helicopters?
Yeah, do you know I was in a helicopter just a couple of months ago now. There's a Wasp. I love the Wasp, and it flies out of that was North Weald. It's I think there's two flying in on the Civil Register, but it's a Royal Blue Navy Wasp. That was lovely because there's nothing to it. It's as if you're in a greenhouse, so it's all perspex. So you take off, it's pretty disconcerting. There's no fuselage around you. It's like you're flying in your settee, it's very disconcerting. And the way they fly these things nose down, it's all that. That was extraordinary.
That's amazing.
I flew a few years ago in a helicopter from Sywell to a Prince to see Prince live. And that was pretty extraordinary because that was the Hop Farm Festival, and they said there's no helipads, we don't do helicopters here. And my mate just went, no, we're going anywhere, we'll just land in the field. So we landed in the next field and caused a bit of a kerfuffle. That was lovely. Not enough helicopters, and now there's all these new vintage helicopters on the circuit, like the Whirlwind and Wessex and Sea King. All of those that are now suddenly airworthy, the bright yellow birds, and I'd love to fly some of them next year. I'm really happy to see that. Let's get Rotodyne going. I'm happy to see the vintage helicopters airborne again. It's great. They're show stealers.
Yeah, that probably ties into Mark Sanders' question here, Trevor. What's still on your list to fly?
Oh, the list continues. Obviously Kev can't beat me now because I'm 2 planes ahead of him. But so all of those vintage helicopters, we kind of make a list up all the time, and whenever I go to these charity auctions, Aviators Ball, everyone go to Aviators Ball, by the way. It's very important. Donate to Airability. Donate to Airability. I insist. No, I don't insist. I order you. Donate to Airability. Great organisation. And so they'll auction things, flights in extraordinary planes, and I'll always bid for those. I want to fly in the Hurricane, the only 2-seater Hurricane. That looks very, very special. They don't do 2-seater F-35s, unfortunately.
Well, I'll have to take you up Cessna 172 and see what you make of that.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, a shame on me for not having done that, really.
But you're really missing out.
Yeah. Proper flying.
That's
you need
amazing.
to brace yourself for the acceleration, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've experienced.
Still turning.
Yeah. So, well, last thing we'll just touch on real quick is you've produced some aviation films. So you've done the Lancaster and the Spitfire. And was that through your love of aviation that you decided to do that, or did they just come about for you to be involved? Or
no, I mean, I'm very lucky position in that I'll only make films about things that I want to make films about. You know, if someone contacts me and says, "Would you make a documentary about motorbikes?" I don't give a damn. No. So the answer is no. But you know, I can pick and choose what I work on, and so consequently, we got a chance to make like the definitive documentary about the Spitfire. So we made that, and I say definitive because we lost all the veterans afterwards. You know, we interviewed 18 veterans for that, including Mary Ellis as well, and we lost them all. They all came to the premiere. They've all gone now, and then we followed that up with Lancaster last year, which was a really big success. Surprising for me, Lancaster turned out to be kind of more successful than Spitfire in a way. And they're both on Sky Docs now.
Richard Kennedy says.
Someone has said Mosquito next. Richard, watch this. Richard, watch this space.
Have you had a chance to fly in a Mosquito, Trevor?
No, that's on my list. It's very, very much on my list. I mean, there's a couple in the States. Yeah, our cameraman, our main cameraman, lighting cameraman on the films, lives in Washington State, and there's one there that I might have to. New Zealand's a bit far for me, but I might have to go to America to do a Mosquito, because I think we're a long way off getting one in Britain. I think clearances, CAA clearances are going to be tough, I think. For a Mosquito, but we should, you know.
Darren at Aerotiques asked a question: are you making a documentary of your space flight?
You just saw it. I don't know. We've got some lovely footage, and obviously I'd have to charge extra for the thumbs footage. I
want to see.
A special certificate for that, the comedy version of an otherwise moving film ruined by the Englishman. But I don't know. Maybe me and Ron should do it together. It was quite an experience, you know. Well, beyond quite an experience. It was the greatest experience, you know. So if I did, it would be in order to, you know, to deliver a bigger message, really, I suppose. That you can make dreams come true. You really can.
Well, yeah, you're the reality of it is you can, and you did. So good for you. So you'll be at the Aviators Ball in a couple of weeks' time. I'm sure anyone watching, if they've got any questions, they can come and find you, can't they?
Yeah, I'll be there in my posh suit. Oh, I'll be wearing my wings as well. Do you want to see my wings?
Yes.
Yeah.
And bring the T-shirt with you as well.
Hey, look, here's my wings.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Oh, wow. So I've spoke to Mike Miller-Smith, who's the governor of Airability, and he's ordered me to wear my wings, and so therefore I'll have my posh suit on, and I should be wearing my wings with pride.
Excellent.
November the 18th. November the 18th. Heathrow. Be there.
It's sold out at the moment, I believe. But
Well, I think they should extend it. In that case, get a bigger hotel, Mike.
Yeah, come on, Mike. Sort it out. Well, I'll come and say hello to you if I'm before I've drunk too much when I get there. So.
Yeah, providing I haven't drunk too much, I'll race you to it. But yeah, no, please, I'll speak to anybody. I will. I don't care. So, no, it'd be lovely. Be lovely. It'll be a great night. It's always a lovely night, you know.
It is.
It's the best aviation night of the year.
It is.
Absolutely.
Right. Sadly, we've come to the end of our time. We've overrun a bit, but that's absolutely fine. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for that T-shirt. We'll have to come up with a quiz. So watch next week to see what see what the quiz is to win that T-shirt. And if we don't see you before, if Sarah doesn't fly you before in the 172, which looking at this weather she probably won't, we'll see you at the Aviators Ball at the Hilton on the 18th.
That'd be lovely, fantastic. See you there. The drinks are on me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
guys.
Trevor.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to walk up to you and go. Brilliant.
It's the new
Thank
secret
you very
symbol
much.
for all aviators.
Oh, Mike Miller Smith is in the house. He's in the comments.
Mike
He's a, man,
Miller
he's a man. Yeah, man of one emoticon.
Get some more, Mike, get some more tables in there, man. Get some more tables in.
Get some more tables in, Mike. Yeah.
We've just sold them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you
Thanks
very
for having
much.
me, guys.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
My little thing. So, thank you very much.
Take care.
Fantastic.
Can we just have 5 minutes of Trevor?
Sorry, Dave?
Can we just say Ed wins and have another 5 minutes of Trevor?
Well, we should probably get Trevor to. Trevor, if you hang around and watch us whiz through Fancy Hangar very quickly, you can be the final judge.
You should be the final judge. Okay, in that case, let's go and whiz through Fantasy Hangar very quickly. And we chose this week's Fantasy Hangar. Ed is.
Well, Erotique says, brilliant, Trevor wins. We got our live stream audience yesterday on Wednesday to pick our Fancy Hangar topic for today, which was pick an aeroplane for your Fancy Hangar from the year you were born. So who's first?
Dave is first.
Which
Dave
one?
W. Dave W.
Yeah.
Dave W. Well, I was going to go for a Jodel, which I've got one very close to my year of birth, but then I had a look to see what first flew in that year, and the answer was just easy. Project Oxcar, the Lockheed A-12. It flew for the first time a week before I was born and went supersonic for the first time the day after I was born. And any hangar has got to have room for that, hasn't it? Look at it. The precursor to the YF-12A and the SR-71. What a beast.
And what year was this, Dave White?
This was 18 something. I can't remember.
Okay, that's your entry. And moving on, it's the other Dave.
Right. So, well, I've chosen. I thought this was all supposed to be about civilian aircraft, so I chose the de Havilland Beaver, where production started in 1948, which is just before I was born. And everyone knows the Beaver was created by de Havilland Canada after World War II. They needed to move away from military aircraft into civilian. And so it's the world's best bush aircraft. It's equally happy on wheels, big tundra tires or floats. It's probably the definition of rugged. I understand it can even fight grizzly bears. No, I made that bit up. That's right. But it's just a beautiful aircraft, thunderous, 450 9-cylinder radial engine up front, and it's got to be that.
Very good.
Okay, Ed. Talking of thunderous.
Next, I looked around. I was born in 1975, so I could have picked the Isaac's Fury or the Rutan Very Easy, the Belanca Skyrocket, or the Valmet Vinca. But then I found this was also delivered in 1975. BA got their first 2 Concords, and that was kind of end of that for me. There was one choice only, and it had to be this. And as I said to the guys earlier when we were preparing, I found this photo, which was in 1985 when BA decided that because they'd been operating their Concords for 10 years, hey, let's fly forward them in formation. So that's not Photoshop. That actually happened.
I just dread to think what the hourly cost of that.
I know.
I have to say that's a very strong one, and I kind of looked around and was trying to figure out what to do. And
I feel you're set on the winning hand.
So it was March 2013. I was flying into an airport called Blue Ash, Cincinnati, northeast of Cincinnati. And this airport had something a little bit strange. Instead of a windsock, it had something called a tetrahedron. You don't get many of those, but that's kind of like a ground-based windsock. And it was a choppy day. It was a March storm, and was stuff going on, and it was tough. And I was working hard, getting distracted by the technical and I was at the controls with it. Hyper-Aztec. And the year I was thinking is 1962. The Aztec was before 62, but I have, to be fair, I was a little bit clumsy on approach. I was probably a little bit slow. It was gusty. I was distracted by the technical reading. I was a student, and that beautiful, beautiful slab wing on the Aztec just looked after me. We went on to make a smooth landing, and everything was fine. But I look back on it, and I think I must have come much, much closer than I've ever wanted to ending up in a smoking hole in the ground. But the Aztec, and whoever designed the Aztec wing, did that for me. Look at the Aztec. Very
As I do
Please, I'm just about to vomit.
Yeah, no one else gets to have mood music.
The vomit Aztec rather than vomit comic.
That's it. And then to lose so badly.
Trevor, you've been brought back as the judge.
Yes.
That was brilliant, guys. That was absolutely brilliant, I've got to say. And to pluck 4 Concords out of there was pretty damned impressive as well. I think the wings
Trevor,
are
the
too short.
A12's got 2 seats. Just saying.
The wings are too short on a Piper Aztec. That's what worries me about that thing. And the Beaver also is not. He's also he's a military plane as well. Not necessarily necessarily heavy, is it? But I've got to give it to Oxcart. Got to give it to Oxcart. The ultimate aeroplane. Ultimate.
Yeah.
And the way you're going Oxcart and not SR-71 as well is even nicher. You know what I mean? It's very special. But I love that. I love that a lot. But I've got to call second place win for the musical presentation though as well. It's very moving.
Well, I think on a show like this, to require pressing buttons, talking, and have music and pictures at the same time, it's a production level we don't normally have.
Great, brilliant. Thank you. So I think that was Dave White just about picked the Aztec to the post, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm with that. With Trevor as his casting vote, I think it's fair to say Dave White is a win. So
yeah.
Thank you, Trevor.
I mean, I would have picked it, but clearly it wasn't the right year for me. I say no more. Right. Okay. Events. Have we got any events, Dave?
Yep. It's on Saturday. There's Pilot Careers Live in London. There's fireworks at Compton Abbas. There's also fireworks at East Kirby, along with the Lancaster doing taxi runs. Cool. And as we mentioned before, on the 13th of November, there's the Light Aircraft Design Conference in London. Otherwise, that's about it for this time of year.
Brilliant. How are you doing, Sarah?
Oh, good.
You'd have chosen the Aztec, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be in Fantasy Hangar today, and then I thought they probably don't want me in here because I'm going to be choosing an aircraft from 1994. So, I think I was going to be very popular, to be honest, but...
So that's enough of that.
Oh, no.
That's how I knew it would go.
1994, interesting. It was the year that I bought Flyer. So there you go. So you've been around for that long.
Wow.
Shocking. Shocking.
I feel you should be playing that music again.
That would fit. Good stuff.
Hang on. It was a day in March.
Yes.
1990. No. We can't take that anymore. That's enough of that stuff. Right. On that basis, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Sky Demon. Thank you very much, Trevor. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you very much, Dave W. Thank you very much, Dave and Ed. And especially thank you very much to everybody out there for coming along and watching. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you next week, next Wednesday, if you're a member, next Thursday, if you're not. But you could be by then. Just sign up. flyer.co.uk/memberships. Only a £5 a month. Thank you very much. See y'all.
Bye.